guy says, "Well, where's that?"
Oh
And I
no,
thought,
you kidding?
"You have no," and they're wearing a shirt with one of the candidates on. And I
It,
just said, "Well," I just said, "Well, there's a new rule. The conservatives vote Tuesday, liberals vote on Wednesday to make it easier." And the guy says, "Oh, well, thank you." The guy was clueless. And these people are voting for
mm,
leaders of
mm,
our nation, and the majority of them were of one party, and who come up and talk to us about, I want to vote now, and and they're just idiots. And I've again, it was in jest, but it was in some reality. There has to be just a simple test. Who was the 16th president of the United States? Yeah, when when was slavery ended? When was the civil rights passed? Things like that, monumental dates in history that any kid could answer before they are able to take a test, because they're just some stupid people out there, and the majority of them, I'm paying for them to live on government subsidy.
mm-hmm,
And so anyway, so we on Tuesday we dealt with this all day. We had a guy come in the courthouse, and you cannot vote in the courthouse on election day. You just
mm-hmm,
can't. You go to the polling places. This guy comes in, "I want to vote," and our director said, "Well, go to your polling location." "I want to vote here. I want to vote now." She says, "Well, you can't."
mm,
And she started explaining the law to him.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
"Well, you mean to tell me I can't? So you're suppressing my vote?" And she's like, "No, you need to listen to me. You need to, where do you vote?" "I don't know." Uh, so, she told him where she looked him up. "This is where you need to go vote." I wanted to say, just don't bother,
Mm-hmm.
because you probably don't know the candidates. You've been brainwashed and you're paid to vote for one of them. So, but this person went and voted, and that's
Mm-hmm.
scary that men and women died for this right and this privilege to vote, and we have people who don't take the time or the effort to research who they're voting for and why they're voting for, or even
Or even where to go. Yeah,
where
and
to go.
and it's not like it changed or something. It's where it's
No,
always been. And,
yeah, just stupid people out
it's
there.
sad, and I I agree that there should be a test, and that
Mm.
test would be: do you have a photo ID? Are you a legal citizen? And are you a registered voter?
Can
Okay,
you
there's
prove
your
it?
yeah, right. There's your test. Okay, prove that you are eligible to
Mm.
participate. I don't expect to go to other countries and vote in their elections, and if I did, that would be wrong. I,
Well, so they're suppressing your vote, Mark.
oh yeah, well,
So
they
you
need to
have to
be
have an
more
ID for
inclusive.
you have to have an ID for everything else, but when it comes time to vote, the liberals don't want that, because they want what we're seeing going on right now:
Mhm.
illegal ballots
Mhm.
casted
Yeah,
and
yes.
counted.
And to be honest, I have heard stories of. Now I'm going to call this fraud, but it was on a different scale. Okay, you would round up the minorities and give them a shot of liquor and tell them to go. There was hanky panky. Okay, but that
Chicago,
no, just I mean, we're talking about voting for the sheriff or something.
yeah, yeah.
But what I'm seeing, or what it appears, what is apparent, is we're seeing on a scale today that is not just here's a shot of liquor, go vote for our buddy so and so. And even in the campaign process, campaigns are in the fall. Well, that's a harvest season. Well, during political season, we would always expect, watermelon and cantaloupe and corn to show up on our step with a little note that the candidate had been by to see us.
Hmm.
So, a different world we live in today. Did you see,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you doing that, Dale, because I think a lot of people observe, especially this time around, all that stuff going on out there, but they see it from afar. Okay, they see it from a distance and through a lens, but you were there working. Now, let me guess, you were there working with people on the other side of the aisle were also working with you, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And when we were out in the trucks, we really didn't talk politics with each other. We just helped each other out. We just put up the booths, we put up the machines, and you get talking during the day, and you find out, well, this person is a member of such and such union. Well, that gave me a good indication
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of who they are. But we all got along. We all put up the booths, and then the day after the election, we all met bright and early the next day and went out and took them all down.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Put them
didn't
in
see any.
storage for.
Yeah, for next year, for next election. So we didn't see any really hanky panky going on. We didn't see any voter fraud.
Well, but there was.
Um,
I guess what I'm trying to get at is there was a sense of respect and mutual just civility.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely, yeah, because we're out there trying to do things, good for people, and trying to, allow them to partake of this privilege they have, and most of them don't have a clue about how it got to this point. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a shame that folks don't really realize the sacrifice and the price that was paid, that we can go walk into a booth and cast a vote for somebody. And I think right now we're in dire, real danger of having those liberties taken away from us. And people say, well, you're jumping to the gun. No, we're not. No, we're not. It's in dire danger. Freedom, as we know, as you and I know it, Mark, as we know it today, we may not have this freedom in 4 years.
It is a scary thought in how things could go so quickly in a southerly direction the way it is, and I don't have the answers. I don't know, but I have never in my life felt like that my vote didn't count. I have had times when I felt like I voted for somebody for the losing candidate, and you feel like, well, what good is it to vote, and
Hmm.
but I basically trusted the outcome. Now, in the year 2000, that really put Florida on the map, with Al Gore. But this was a very different situation. It wasn't a matter of cheating. It's a matter of the process. The old punch cards were flawed, and the race was so close, and it's hard to tell when you're using a paper punch card that punch
Yeah.
holes. Very different climate because everybody was trying to find not illegal ballots, just trying to figure out how did this ballot vote.
Yeah, and I think they were able to find out. But then you make adjustments, and you live and you learn, and you try to make the system as best as possible. So today's system, we were going through that day. I was over watched some of them go through ballots that were either that they wouldn't fit through the feeder because they'd been bent or they'd been
Mm-hmm.
kind of crumpled up. So they were reading to each other. There were numerous ballots where they would had voted for each Trump and Biden. They cast those for both of them on that same ballot.
Hmm.
And so those had to be just thrown out. And just the way that went, because it says on there clearly, vote for one
Mm-hmm.
candidate. But then you have people who again,
Does it really need
if
to even say that? I mean,
yeah, obviously it does. So again, that's where taking a test prior to the election is prior to even before you insert your card, have a screen pop up. Who was the first president of the United States?
mm-hmm.
And multiple choice. And if you don't pass that test, oh, sorry, you can't vote.
Yeah,
Hey, what's wrong with that?
we have a civics remediation classroom right over there.
Yes. I mean, good grief, man. It's sad because we've gone away, or this generation that's being raised by numbskulls is just scary. It's entitled. It's 20 years of indoctrination from the liberal media and the liberal education system that's producing these folks who can't really understand logic, who can't understand anything except what they've been shoved down their throat for 20 years. So we're seeing the result of our kids being poisoned by liberal professors and by the media for 20 years. They're the ones who are out there voting right now.
Well, I find it interesting, and I don't. I guess we'll have. Unfortunately, I guess we'll have a chance to discuss this in the weeks ahead because it doesn't seem apparent that anything's going to be decided between now and next week. However,
No.
what will happen between now and next week is Veterans Day, and Veterans
Tomorrow.
Day is a very solemn. We have, in my opinion, two solemn vacations. Holidays. One is Memorial Day, but Veterans Day is special because Veterans Day is on a fixed date. It's not the first,
Well,
Tuesday or the first Monday, or you make a long weekend out of it. It is set aside because World War One ended on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. So it's interesting that since this election is up in the air, tomorrow we're going to be reminded, hopefully, that people fought for this privilege, this right, this blessing that we have. We get to decide who our leaders are, who our representatives are, and what kind of future we want for this country, unlike any place in the world.
you believe that. I believe that. I am convinced 100% liberals do not feel the way you and I do about Veterans Day. There's no liberal out there that respects and honors our military because they want to take it away. They want to crowd out our military. They want to defund our police. Liberals, and I don't care if I offend. Liberals do not care 1 ounce about the history of our military or what they've done to protect our freedom. Liberals don't care about it.
Well,
They want to erase it.
it
What do you
well,
think they're tearing down statues, Mark? They want to erase our history. That's why they're doing it. Liberals are the reason our country is in shambles right now.
Well, and you can't blame it on the idea that they have an aversion to authority because they don't have a problem with authority as long as they are the only authority.
They are the authority, yes.
Yeah, they don't want any competition. So that's the way that works. But folks, I hope that in light of the circumstances and the political landscape that surrounds us, that this Veterans Day we will especially pause and think about the sacrifices. And golly, Dell, what if some of those people got to come back here? I think my dog is about to come in. Hello.
Well,
Come.
we see the evidence, Mark, from
Go ahead. Had an unplanned visitor tonight here in the PJ Net Eagles nest. But what would they think if some of those that are now in the cemeteries, were to be here today and observe what's going on right now?
we've seen in the last few years with the mighty NFL by kneeling and dishonoring our flag and our national anthem. This has been going on for several years. And who defends them? The liberals. So
Well, there's something I'm noticing, and that sounds bad, but I'm noticing this. We're not exactly buying into it. The NFL ratings are in the tank. The NBA ratings are in the tank, and now Fox News has crapped in their pants.
I deleted my Fox app on my phone. I'm no longer watching Fox News. I'm going over to Newsmax, and I've gone over to one OANN or ONN. Anyway, so in fact, I put a tweet out today. I said I deleted Fox, and it's not. They've bowed. They've bowed to the liberal mob, and they've gone away from just reporting. They used to report and just we would and everybody has their political analysts. That's fine, but the majority of the time they would just report what happened. They're not even doing that anymore. They have totally flipped to the liberal media. Any network that hires Donna Brazil as a political commentator who was a known cheater in the debates and just a political hack, it hires her, really? I mean, I think she's even too far gone for CNN. So you can't take her serious because of what she did during the debate, handing Hillary Clinton the questions. and saying, "Oh, I didn't know I was wrong." And
Well, yeah, I hear you. The what gets me is when you have a liberal worldview. Okay, uh, there's this opinion or this feeling that the end justifies the means. Now, in a more Christian and conservative worldview, evil is evil, bad is bad, wrong is wrong. You know, you can't go blow up an abortion clinic because you think that they're killing babies in there.
right,
That would be
well,
denounced.
yeah,
But that's not the worldview on the other side. They believe that their end game is so important that it doesn't matter how you, by any means necessary.
no, and they don't even know the difference in their issues. You brought up abortion. Liberals what believe that the woman has the right to choose to kill her unborn baby. It's her right to choose, right? That's what they believe. It's in their platform.
Mm-hmm.
We uphold Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
So, if this woman who wants to abort her baby, she has that right. But you know what? She doesn't have the right to do today? Not to wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
So the same woman who has a right to choose to kill her kid, oh, wow, you got to wear a mask. There's no choice there. It's not about any issue. It's about ultimate control.
Mm-hmm.
You will do what we say, and that's it. That's what liberals believe. Total domination and control of their agenda.
It's it's an unfortunate observation, Dell, but I find it difficult to argue with what you're
Right.
saying. I wish I could be a better apologist for the other
Well,
side.
even liberals can't go back on that one again. They have the right to choose to kill a child, an unborn child, but they can't choose to wear a mask. It's total hypocrisy and double standards on the liberal side. It's the way they are.
Well, I'm seeing, I'm taking some comfort, I guess, that again I mentioned the NFL, the NBA, Fox News, and people are
Right.
leaving Facebook in droves. So
Yeah.
there is some conscience left out there, apparently.
Yeah, part of it exploded. I picked up a gazillion followers over the last couple of days. I had I think 11 the other day, and I just put out on Facebook, "This is my parlor address." Yeah, boom, it's been exploding, and I've got like 400 now. So just all in like 2 days. So I'm going to make that transition over slowly. I can't stand Facebook. Uh, Twitter, I kind of tolerate, but they've been really censoring people, and that's how much they hate conservatism, is they will stifle anybody who has an opinion. Every post that President Trump puts out on Facebook now, there's a disclaimer at the bottom:
Yeah.
Joe Biden is the winner.
Right, and this is what kind of irritates me. And I don't look at the liberal post, but at the same time,
Uh,
you'll see a statement and it'll say missing context. And it's
yes.
like, well, wait a minute, let me think, okay? And I'm sick and tired of being reminded,
Hmm.
you know, election information. Like, listen, if I want some election information, I'll go get it. I don't need to have it rammed down my throat. These are election facts. They must abide by strict guide, rules. Um. Oh.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yeah. No kidding. There's some rules. That's the problem, sir. There are rules, and they are in effect, and they're being ignored.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a sad state right now.
a constant apologist, for the liberal point of view, and they claim to be a open or neutral public platform, which they are.
I don't even think they claim that anymore. They're not. They're slanted. And there'll be a day when you got kicked off Twitter. There'll be a time when I probably will be, and everybody who's conservative and patriotic. If you're patriotic, you have a real good chance of getting deleted, because the folks who run Facebook, the folks who run Twitter, they are not American. They are anti-American, anti-freedom. They just want their agenda, which is socialism, shoved down your throat. That's it.
Seems that way. It does.
It is that way.
Dell,
I
moving
got
on
riled up.
to
Sorry.
we beat we beat that one pretty good.
That's all right.
Tell me what's happening in the publishing and printing world.
Kind of slow right now, but we've got a lot of things going on. We had a good conference down in Florida. We have some things coming up. It is kind of slow right now. It's kind of Christmas time is a time when Thanksgiving and Christmas is when traditionally they're slow. But I've got some things. A couple of my clients, I'm probably going to get some contracts this next couple of weeks. We're excited about that. It's hopefully it depends on who's put in the Oval Office will determine a lot of it. Will determine business, will determine freedom, and whether there's people out there wanting to go to work or not, because the other side just wants people to stay home and give them checks. So I think if it goes the way that the media wants, then I could realistically see a lot of things coming to a halt.
We live in times I never foresaw, and I wonder around the world. Other countries has always looked to the United States for leadership in all things, and I wonder if they're looking at us saying they don't know what the heck they're doing over there.
They're looking at us saying, finally, they're finally imploding.
Yeah,
because we have people. We had some conservatives who voted against freedom. We had conservatives who voted against the First and Second Amendments because they've been brainwashed, and there's no other reason to it. They've been brainwashed, and they've drunk the Kool-Aid from the media and the education system, and it is a scary time right now.
On a happier note, I was watching your Facebook. You've had a lot of granddad time. Seems like the past week or so. What's going on?
That's just always fun. I mean, it's just it's a good respite break from reality. In fact, we've quit. You know what I've determined I can do without, and I've done without for the last several weeks is professional sports. I haven't watched a football game.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched the news, and except bits and pieces of it. So I've been in a lot better mood because I don't need that stuff. I don't need to watch somebody pay $10 million to throw a football. Don't need it. I'm fine without it.
That's pretty profound, but it's especially profound coming from a man that has basically made his life around it.
Yeah, it's kind of a wasted life, isn't it, Ben? No, it's just I've just come to the conclusion that I'm pretty good without it, and so will anybody else out there. You don't need to watch the Cowboys or the Bengals or whoever. If you want to, that's great. My life's fine without them, and it's going to be fine without them. It gives me more time to spend with the grandkids.
Well, I hope that, one of the things that I did years ago is I've stopped watching television. Now, that doesn't mean I've stuck my head in the sand.
Right.
No.
We watch it maybe late at night, just reruns.
Right.
I think people need to watch Andy Griffith again. I think people need to watch the old sitcoms.
How about some John Wayne?
Yeah, well, he's a racist. According to the liberals, he's a racist. But you know what he does? His movies they stand for America. That's why they can't stand him. Liberals hate America.
Right, exactly, and that's it's so bad. I mean, it became evident to me that these people are kind of messed up because when they went on this binge of tearing down statues, it didn't matter what the statue was. They tore down statutes of people who led in the civil rights movement, who led in the anti-slavery movement. They were just tearing down any symbol of this country.
Yes, because they haven't been taught right. Because they were told, hey, you get a trophy for just playing, or you've been told that you haven't been treated fairly, or your uncle was mistreated. I live real close to West Virginia, and Senator Byrd was very instrumental in getting a lot of things to West Virginia. Mm-hmm. He was also a grand wizard in the Ku Klux Klan. Mm-hmm. And a well-known fact, it's not made up, and you go on Wikipedia and see that. He was a grand wizard in the Ku Klux Klan. The Democrats actually started the Ku Klux Klan. Mm-hmm. That's historically proven. That's not me just saying that. That is history. The Democrats started the KKK. Senator Byrd was a grand wizard in the KKK. His statues still stand in West Virginia because you know why? He's a Democrat, and
Mm-hmm.
they won't dare touch a Democrat statue.
You bet.
But he's the epitome of racism.
What a mess. What a mess. Well,
It's just
Dell,
uneducated idiots
well, the
going.
truth,
They are the product of our education system.
I don't know where this ties in, but a thought I didn't post it, but the thought came to my mind. The truth is not something that we debate. The truth is something we discover. There's only one truth. There are not two. There's not multiple choice. You get yours and I get mine. There
No,
is one truth.
but if you tell a lie long enough, you believe it.
That's apparent. Very
Yes,
apparent.
that's what Democrats do. They tell a lie long enough. But again, we touched on the blog. I had a great time working this system, putting it up, tearing it down. It was tough. I mean, it was a lot of hours,
Mm-hmm.
and we did it just so people can go in and cast a vote, whether they're stupid or not. They were able to go in and cast a ballot, and they exercised their First Amendment rights. For now, we still have those, and so we'll see if we have those by this time next year.
You mentioned that one guy was wearing a shirt, and I don't know how it is up there, but in Florida, you can't wear anything. There's they got little those orange cones. The
Right.
no propaganda inside there, including the shirt you're wearing.
100 feet, right? This was not on election day. This was he came in. He came into that place on Monday, which
Ah.
we were just setting up. We were just setting up, and he had a political shirt on, which told me who he believed it was voting for,
Mhm.
and that's why he sarcastically said, you vote on Wednesday this year." Oh, okay,
Yeah.
and he had no clue. Okay, jeez.
It's a-
I didn't correct him. I was
No.
joking, and the people with me laughed, but that guy just, oh, okay, thank you. I thought, oh my gosh, if you're that stupid, you shouldn't be voting. You shouldn't be voting. I don't care if it's for my side or not. You shouldn't be voting.
There you go.
So, but anyway, yeah. So I had a good time with it, and it's good to be back here. I know we've gone a little long. Yeah, 10 minutes over, but we got a late start. So
We got a very late start, Dale. We had numerous problems tonight, and we'll start working on those about the
Well-
time we go off the air. But
well, you need to get back to the beach there behind you and
yeah, let me go to the
sit
beach,
back
and
and sip some coffee or something there.
we'll do that. Well, Dell, it's always a pleasure, and we can't wait to hear, what's on board next week and all that, and we'll see you then. And
Okay.
and thank you for volunteering. I presume you were volunteering. I don't know. Maybe they paid you.
That paid me a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, it's well, the minimum wage is going up in Florida. We voted ourselves a raise.
Hey, yeah, that means more businesses will lay people off because they can't afford it now.
Yeah, we'll go into that next week. I can testify what happened at AutoZone. Well, I'll just tell you right now, batteries went up $10, all of them. Car
Yeah,
batteries, all of them.
They got it exactly. You got to get that expense from somewhere, and it's going to be the
So
consumer.
so if you got $1 an hour raise,
Mhm.
you get to work 10 extra hours to buy that car battery.
Yeah. The cost goes somewhere.
What a bargain! What
Yeah.
a bargain! Isn't
But
it great?
but the people clamoring, we need a raise. They have no clue where it's
Yeah.
being shifted to the consumer,
Mhm.
and also the business person who employs people. They have to. That's a more expense for them, so they're probably going to lace people off.
Yeah. Well, let's talk more about that next week because it was quite a and I'll look up the numbers. I bet it passed overwhelmingly, but I don't know. All I know is that it passed. So, but Dale, appreciate you sharing. Appreciate your service in helping everybody exercise their right to vote. And maybe, who knows, by this time next week we may have a better idea who's going to
No.
be president. Nah,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
It'll be in December, January.
Yeah, not a chance. All right. Well,
All right.
man, we'll see you then. Appreciate it. Well, there we are, folks. Dell Didway, high atop. There you are. You are now inside the pjnet.tv studio. And before I leave, I'd like to ask you two questions to ask yourself. First, what is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? And secondly, when was that? Folks, in the troubled time ahead, I hope that we will be courageous and never allow ourselves to be satisfied with either answer.